letter, that was sent to me on Facebook first, and I never got the letter because the police officer dropped it on the floor, by a sitting MP, which works with the St. Lucia Labour Party. Today, we are seeing another letter. They could have just sent a letter to Mark, the owner of Facebook. How can you say 3 persons in the US and 2 in St. Lucia? So if you are addressed in a letter, a lawyer's letter, you must make sure you put the 3 names in New York and the 2 names in St. Lucia. So you not knowing the names, you are saying 3 persons in the US and 2 in St. Lucia. That means this lawyer and whoever is asking the lawyer to write that letter, those people, I wonder, where did they get their law degree? You understand me? Because that means if you know there are 3 individuals who controls what's the name of the thing? United Park, right? That means you know who, because y'all say 3 persons in the US and 2 in St. Lucia. So why can't your lawyer letter address and serve those people? The kind of nonsense that this SLP government is seeking attention on Facebook. Because whenever they want to shut you up, they will threaten you with lawyer's letter. When you have a government who wants to hijack the legal system in this country, I don't understand. The Fosters will write a letter like this? I do not understand. You have slaps. Slap is a place where they insult people the most. They have took my picture. They have said so much about me. I still do not want to waste my time and go to court. I take it as a man. And today, you want to shut everybody up because you want nobody to say nothing about the opposition. Sorry, the government. Well, we will have more on this tomorrow on.
Good evening, folks. Good evening, good evening, good evening, St. Lucia. Wherever you are in the world, good evening, good evening, good evening. And I should say good night. So depending where people are, good night, everybody. Happy New Year. If I haven't said so already, Happy New Year to everybody listening. I wish you the very best for 2023. I wish your families, your life, health, prosperity, everything good I wish for you and your family for this year. Folks, 2023, this is going to be a tough year. Those of us who live in North America, those of us who live internationally, we know that there's a recession coming. Some of us, the countries we are in, we are already in a recession. Instead, this government settles down and focuses on the current state of affairs in St. Lucia, the current state of hardship in St. Lucia, and starting to prepare the country for what's coming this year, 2023, they instead began the year distracting St. Lucians towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year with this stupid, frivolous, and ridiculous letter or legal action against United PAC. Now, folks, I have no idea who United PAC is. I don't know if anybody knows. I have no idea who United PAC is. But for a government to spend its time to take legal action against a pseudo account when there are so many pressing issues in the country, especially on the start of a new year where they should be really focusing on delivering on its mandate and its election promises and really preparing St. Lucians for what is coming, they are wasting time and spending and diverting the attention of St. Lucians to some frivolous matter like United PAC said about Philip Pierre as a BMW. And before I get into that BMW matter, folks, let me tell you, let's not kid ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves. Both sides throw words back and forth for each other. Both sides. It's a zero-sum game. So let's not pretend. right? The Labour Party had its propaganda page, Think Forward. If you remember, let's go back. Think Forward was the Labour Party's propaganda page. Prior to the last election, they changed the name to Starstruck. Since they've won the election, that page has now it has gone dormant. They are now even taking it off Facebook. But that was their propaganda page, churning out misinformation every single day on the UWP government, Alan Shastney and Guy Joseph, every single day. The Labour Party dominated the airwaves with talk shows after talk shows after talk shows, spewing off nonsense, lies, propaganda about Guy Joseph and Alan Shastney. And I always tell you guys, I come from the school of the Labour Party, so when I talk, I know what I'm talking about. I know how the Labour Party operates, and I know their modus operandi. They repeat something over and over and over and over, and it will stick. And that's what happened. And a year and a half in, not a single allegation of corruption has been proven about Alan Shastney or Guy Joseph. They have launched investigations onto investigations. They have stopped all projects to investigate Alan Shastney and Guy Joseph. Up to now, we, the St. Lucian public, have not seen a shred of evidence of corruption against Alan Shastney and Guy Joseph. Meanwhile, the country is suffering. Meanwhile, people are hurting because these projects are at a standstill. People who are supposed to be employed are now unemployed. The country is in a state of disrepair because those projects like the Grosley Highway, like the Millennium Highway, like the Hironoa International Airport, like the St. Jude's Project Hospital have all been stopped investigating alleged corruption. Up to now, a year and a half in, we have not seen a single shred of corruption by this government. They won an election based on lies and deceit, on propaganda. They had all their machinery. Labour Party has all their machinery to spew out lies and propaganda, including their Facebook page, Slap, including Starstruck, including all the talk shows they used to have, Christopher Hunt, Trisha Lilac Hell, Jai Manyadi, etc., Richard Frederick on a Thursday. It was all about spewing out lies and half-truths. They won the election based on lies and false promises. And now they're in office now. Philip Pierre wants to take umbrage at United Pack saying somebody gifted him a BMW. He wants to feign morality. Let me read part of his post for you all, because I am shocked that Philip Pierre, a prime minister who won an election based on lies, nothing else but lies and deceit, now wants to take umbrage and now wants to take United Pack, a pseudo account. He's so distracted and thin-skinned. He now wants to take legal action against United Pack. Who is United Pack? Let me read a nonsense for you all.
More on this tomorrow on Bring Back Shas.
This is Philip Pierre. He says, the malicious attacks seek to denigrate the unsullied name. Really? The malicious attacks seek to denigrate the unsullied name. Now, you know, and that's the thing about Philip Pierre. He likes to create this aura around himself as upright, unsullied. Yet, and that is a farce. That is a farce. An unsullied name. Yet you have characters in your cabinet. You have characters in your cabinet that you protect, you defend, you go to court. You intervene in justice, in legal processes to defend your corrupt members of your cabinet. But you want to believe your name is unsullied. No, it's not unsullied. The mere fact that you could have these people around you in your cabinet. You went to court. I don't want to get distracted. But you went to court to see that justice was served in one of your minister's cases where he defrauded. He used a UK High Commission office to defraud the office, putting St. Lucia's name in jeopardy, jeopardize and corrupt so many offices of St. Lucia, our UK High Commission, our Customs Office, our Transport Board, our law office, our courts, our legal system. Manipulate all of those systems. A government minister, well, he was not government minister at the time, but he became a government minister. And you went to court to intervene and interfere with the legal process. And you said to see justice was served. And instead of firing him, you know what you did? You promoted him to deputy prime minister. You have another minister in your cabinet who the US revoked his personal and diplomatic visas, and the US told you why they did that. He cannot go to the US now. Why? You told us why the US revoked a diplomatic visa, drug trafficking, money laundering, and you named the list first. You have him sitting in your cabinet today. You have another minister who's under investigation in the UK for defrauding UK pensioners in the Freedom Bay pension scheme. You have another minister who went into a church and broke the law and disrupted a church service and threatened somebody in the church. You have 4 ministers in your cabinet who have legal issues hanging over their head. And you want to come and say your name is unsullied? Your name is not unsullied. You are a reflection of the people you have in your cabinet. The malicious attacks seem to denigrate the unsullied name of the Honorable Prime Minister and will not be tolerated. Really? Really? You don't have clean hands, Philip Pierre. You do not have clean hands. You are so thin-skinned. You can give, but you cannot take. You can give, but you cannot take. You dirtied the name of Alan Shasley and Guy Joseph. And up to now, we have not seen a shred of evidence about it. We have not seen a shred of evidence to support all the claims y'all made against the Guy Joseph. We have not seen a shred of evidence. You can sully people's name how you want. Alan Chasney, Guy Joseph, Minerva Ward, anybody who stands up to you, you'll sully people's name and nothing for it. Nothing for it. But when the same is done to you want to take umbrage. You can give, but you cannot take. You can give, but you cannot take. These malicious attacks seek to denigrate the unsullied name of the Honorable Prime Minister and will not be tolerated. The Prime Minister has instructed his lawyers to pursue legal action against United PAC, the United Workers' Party, and all other pages which share the defamatory content. So thousands of people have shared the content, thousands of people, because you put something on WhatsApp or social media or whatever, the same you all used to do, put something on Starstruck or Think Forward, or any little dirty pages like Slap, and it goes viral. That is your tactics. I've been schooled by Labour. That is your tactics. That is your tactics, Labour Party tactics. So now you're getting a dose of your own medicine. You want to cry bloody murder? Really? So you want to sue everybody and their dog and their cat. You want to sue United PAC, you want to sue the United Workers' Party, and all other pages which share the defamatory content. Let me see you all sue thousands of pages. Let me see you all do that. They ban any deal. The public is encouraged to engage in constructive conversations. Really, Philip Pierre? You should start with your own house. You should start with your own people, Philip Pierre. The same people you ask to go and fight. The same people you ask to go and fight. Anybody who does not support you, you ask your people to go and fight with them. To go in their faces and say you lose. You should start with those. You see the hypocrisy of Philip Pierre and the nonsense they say? You see the hypocrisy of this government. The public is encouraged to engage in constructive conversations. Constructive conversations. To go in people's faces and say, you lose, you lose. You cannot, you have to practice what you preach. You have to practice what you preach. You cannot tell your people to go in people's faces and fight and then come and talk about constructive conversations. It doesn't work that way. The public is encouraged to engage in constructive conversations to ensure that the government and its policies work in the best interest of people. However, Dansa, listen to that. However, the use of propaganda, Labour Party saying that to y'all, Labour Party modus operandi 101. That is what they do. Anybody who follows the Labour Party, you're schooled in that. That's their first tactic they teach you. Trust and believe, they taught me, I know. However, The use of propaganda, lies, and unfounded defamatory allegations and acts will be defended to protect one's honor and integrity. Oh, y'all alone that have honor and integrity. Y'all alone that have honor and integrity. Alan Chastney don't have honor and integrity. Guy Joseph don't have honor and integrity. Minerva Ward don't have honor and integrity. All the UWPs, all the outspoken UWPs don't have honor and integrity. It's okay for you to tarnish our names baselessly. Baselessly. It's okay for you to tarnish our names and our reputations, to drag our names, to say all what you want to say. But you want to defend yours, right? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can give, but you cannot take. So you want to waste the public's time with this nonsense and stupidity right now on the start of a brand new year. Especially in the highest public office of the land. Y'all didn't know that? When you were tarnishing Guy Joseph's name? Y'all did not know that. A year and a half, we are still waiting for the St. Jude's report. We are still waiting for the Hiranora Airport report. We are still waiting for the alleged corruption y'all said about the roads. We are still waiting. And we are going to continue to ask you for those reports and those audits until the election. Because you lied. You lied to St. Lucian to win an election. You lied. You tarnished people's names. The easiest thing the Labour Party can say is corruption. You cannot prove you are not corrupt. But that's what they do. They repeat. They put it out there. They repeat. The people start repeating it without even understanding. And that's what they did to Guy Joseph. That is what they did to Guy Joseph. I have not seen a shred of evidence against Guy Joseph. Ask St. Lucians. Oh, Guy Joseph is corrupt. How is he corrupt? Explain to me how. They cannot tell you. Because the Labour Party is very, 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 very good at that. They put something out there and they repeat it and it becomes truth. I know for myself with my own name and my own reputation what they have done. But I don't care the Labour Party. I know who I am. They can say whatever you want about me. I do not give a care what y'all say. Because I know who I am. But y'all put stuff out there about people. And how do you defend that? You're famous for doing that. And when now somebody says to y'all have somebody bought you a thing. Y'all want to take big lawsuit against a pseudo profile on Facebook. You want to take Facebook to court, Google to court, everybody you want to take to court. Stupidity at its highest in St. Lucia's government. Stupidity at its highest. We encourage citizens to act responsibly in their thoughts, words, and deeds. We encourage citizens to act responsibly in their thoughts, words, and deeds. When you were asking people to go and fight, to go in people's faces and tell them they lose. When Claudius Francis, the Speaker of the House, was saying he's going to get a bazooka to deal with anybody, y'all didn't know that? Do as I say and not as I do. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying there. Do as I say and not as I do. You see that you see why nobody can take you seriously? You see why you're a laughing stock, Philip Pierre? You see why this government is a laughing stock? Nobody takes you seriously. Because your words are not consistent. Your words and actions are not consistent. You say one thing now and another thing another time when it doesn't suit your purpose. Nobody takes you seriously. We encourage citizens to act responsibly in their thoughts, words, and deeds, and to call out all of those who peddle lies. Okay, I'm calling you out. I'm calling the Labour Party out first and foremost as peddling lies. I am calling the Labour Party out first and foremost for peddling lies. Against Alan Chastney, against Guy Joseph, against me, against so many others. Anybody who dares to challenge y'all, guarantee there'll be a story. You corrupt, you a whore, you this, you steal money, you did it. Betties. But that's what y'all do. That's what y'all famous for. Y'all won an election on lies and now you're going to take a fake moral high ground? Please. Who you fooling? Who you fooling, Philip Pierre? Who are you fooling? You're continuing to lie to the public. Even now. And you're going to take a fake moral high ground and go after United PAC? Really? We encourage citizens to act responsibly in their thoughts, words, and deeds, and to call out those who peddle lies, and when they do so, cowardly hide their identities behind fake names and organizations. Are you for real, Philip Pierre? Are you for real? No, seriously, are you for real? You have a starstruck, think forward, your propaganda page churning out nonsense every single day until your one-day election, and it went dormant. And you asking people to call out those who peddle lies? You have your lying machinery as part of your party. Your talk shows. Half of what the Labour Party puts out is lies and propaganda. That is a core of Labour Party. Lies and propaganda. And now you want to act like you're shocked and you hurt and your feelings are hurt and you want to give people lectures? Please, please take your own advice. Take your own advice. As a matter of fact, go to SLAP. St. Lucian's aiming for progress. Go there and start there. Go and give them that lecture in SLAP. Start there. Because that's where all the nastiness and filth from the Labour Party comes out. There. There. Think forward and starstruck. It's now your one, so it has gone dormant. Your ones, all the nasty talk shows are gone. But start there. Start in your camp. Go preach to your church. That's why you need to start about the lies and peddling lies. Start in your church. Start in your camp. So folks, the Prime Minister took big umbrage to United Pack saying that he had been gifted a BMW. Let me get my stuff. So he came out saying that the car had not been gifted to him. He had actually bought the car. And he had a mortgage on the car. And he bought it prior to the election. Now, I don't know how many people knew Philip Pierre has a BMW. Now, let me make this abundantly clear. I have no issue with Philip Pierre or anybody buying a BMW or any luxury car. I drive one myself. I have no issues with that. But it's the hypocrisy of Philip Pierre. It is the hypocrisy of Philip Pierre. It is this fake, and let me tell you, let me say it, self-proclaimed, because that's not what I call him. That's what he calls himself. The self-proclaimed little black boy from Marsha, as he calls himself. He likes to play this humble, this poor, this little black boy. He doesn't need anything material. He's humble. He's a man of the people. He drives the most basic vehicle. He likes to play that role. But it was not until United Pack came out with the information that he was forced to come and admit. He was forced to come and admit that in truth and in fact, in the worst of times, before he got into government, when there was still COVID, when there was hardship, in one of the poorest constituencies, that was a priority for him. So this image that he tries to portray of himself as this humble, poor little black guy from Marshall, who still lives in Marshall among the people, and he's humble, he never left St. Lucia, he only has one passport. That is such a farce. That is such a farce. That is such a farce. In the worst of times, when there's so much misery and suffering in the country, and in your constituency that you've done little for, you go and buy a luxury vehicle. Again, I want to say I have no issues with anybody buying a luxury vehicle, but it's a hypocrisy of Philip Pierre. It is a hypocrisy. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot put on this act act of this little poor black boy who doesn't need much. You know, he's quite content with the people and the basics of life. I'm quite content. I'm quite content with living in Marshall where I grew up. I don't need much. But you're busy accumulating materialism under the cover of darkness. And it was not until United Pack exposed it that you finally had to admit it. But you wanted to chastise Alan Chasney. You wanted to chastise Alan Chasney because he was born into a certain level of privilege and comfort. You want to chastise Alan Chasney because he was born, his father worked hard to give him a good life and to give him a good start in life. You want to chastise Alan Chasney because he was born into a little bit of comfort above the average St. Lucian. But you, given the first opportunity, you run to do the same. Given the first opportunity, you run to do the same. Given the first opportunity, you run to create a life of materialism. At the first opportunity, you run to buy a luxury car. What does that say about you? What does that say about your core values? What does that say about you as a person? Again, nothing wrong in buying a luxury vehicle, nothing wrong in having a nice house at Cap Estate. But do not play a role at you, this humble prime minister, oh, this little poor black boy from Marshall who's quite content with the people, and then go and do that. It does not mesh. You are a liar. You are a fake. You are a liar and you are a fake. And I'm not sure that you guys get it. I'm not sure that you guys get it. I don't know what is worse. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know sure it's worse, because it's definitely worse to be gifted as a prime minister a BMW. But to create this aura around yourself and to sneakily go and do things that run contrary to everything that you've portrayed yourself to be, you are a liar and you are a fake. And this aura you're trying to create around yourself is shattered. It is shattered. And all I see this government doing, all I see this Labour Party government doing is joyriding. All I see this Labour Party government doing is joyriding off the backs of St. Lucians while St. Lucians, the average St. Lucian, the ordinary St. Lucian is suffering. Things are hard. You keep blaming the war in Russia for inflation. Yes, there's inflation all over the world, but countries are helping their citizens cushion the effects of inflation. And St. Lucia has done very little to help its citizens. Bread has moved from 25 cents, the normal Creole loaf has moved from 25 cents to 45 cents. Starting January 1st. So people who may not have money, a whole heap of money, let's say, you know, a mother, a single mom, or family, may not have money to put dinner on the table a particular night. But they decide, you know what, let me buy a packet of bread to bring home. I'll put some butter in that, some cheese in that, and that'll be dinner. Now the price has gone up. You can only buy 2 loaves for $1. Whereas before you were able to buy 4, now you can only buy 2 loaves. If a mother has 3 children, 2 teenage boys, and you know teenage boys like their bread already, to give them 3 loaves, they may eat 3 loaves for breakfast, and you have to pack their break, their lunch. How is an ordinary St. Lucian affording that? When you have growing children who eat more than 1 loaf for, let's say, a breakfast or lunch or break, how the prices have gone up crazily, a basic necessity like bread. Plus other food supplies, or plus other food, basic food. I was in St. Lucia last month in December, and I was shocked as to the prices on the supermarket shelves. I don't know how people are surviving, and this government is doing very little to cushion the effects of the pain and hardship people are seeing. Meantime, they are living it up. They are joyriding. They're flying here, they're flying there, they're flying all over the world. Any opportunity they can get to travel, they're flying. Kenson Canty, they went to the FIFA World Cup finals in Qatar. Living the good life. They're living the good life. When you look at all their social media pages of what they were doing for how they were celebrating Christmas, oh, it was champagne. It was champagne. It was living it up. Living the good life while the ordinary St. Lucian is struggling and suffering and can barely put food on their tables. But they don't care. They complained that Alan Chasney they complained that he was wealthy. I don't know what's wrong with that. Like he was born into certain comforts that his dad worked hard to give him. They complained about that, chastised him for that, demonized him for that. But yet, all of them, they were all jealous of the life that he could have afforded to live. That's what all of them were aspiring to live. And now they get the opportunity in government, all of them living it up. Lifestyles they could not afford to live before they got into government. Now they're in government, all of them living those lifestyles. To the poor people they claimed to care about before, they have no time for them. They're doing the bare minimum to see them get by. The bare minimum, while all of them living the good lavish lifestyle. The good lavish lifestyle, that's what all of them live in. You're buying a BMW in the worst of times. What does that say? What does that say to people? What does it say to people about your priorities? You are tone deaf. You are tone deaf, Philip Pierre. If you think this is a good look, while there's so much hardship in the country, your constituency is in a mess. Your constituency has been in a mess for the last 26 years. And you're gifting yourself a BMW, a white chariot, as Rick Wayne put it in The Star. You are gifting yourself a white chariot. So all along it was really jealousy or were jealous of Alan Chasney. It was really jealousy or were jealous of Alan Chasney all along. When you demonized him, it was just jealousy. The first opportunity you got to buy the things that he had, not that he didn't need to be in government to buy those things, but the first opportunity you got to buy them, you ran to buy them. All while people are suffering. This is something called identity politics. Identity politics. The Labour Party continues to play identity politics. They try to appeal to the Malay way. They continue to try to appeal to the Malay way. And sadly, to the Malay way don't even realize that they are being played. They give them peanuts so they can remain poor. They give them peanuts so they can remain poor. When they remain poor and they're dependent on you, you can control them and you can control their vote. And that is what the Labour Party continues to perpetuate up to a day like today. Labour Party is not a progressive party. They do not believe in creating sustainable economic development where people can be financially independent of them. They like the fact that people have to come to them and ask them for a bag of rice and some oil and some handouts. They like that because it means that they can control them. And when you can control them, when they're dependent on you for handouts, you can also control their vote. And that is what the Labour Party continues to perpetuate. Poverty. Keeping people in poverty. All while they live a lavish lifestyle. All while they live a lavish lifestyle on the backs of St. Lucians. And live lifestyles they could not afford to live when they're in opposition. Folks, we have record high gas prices in St. Lucia. Record high. Record high gas prices in St. Lucia. Let me find this for you. When the UWP was in power, oil prices were $120 a barrel. on the world market, $120. Gas prices in St. Lucia were $13.85 a gallon. Okay? So on the world market, $120. In St. Lucia, $13.85 a gallon. And the Labour Party was protesting, eh? The Labour Party was protesting. Right now, oil prices in the world market is $70 a barrel. $70 a barrel compared to 120 here. And gas prices in St. Lucia are $17.70 a gallon compared to $13.85 when the gas prices were $120. And nobody says a word. Not a word. Oil prices have fallen on the world market for months. And I keep saying, those of us who live in North America, we have the prices of our gas fluctuate every single day because we see what the changes are. We know for a fact that gas prices have dropped for months. Even before the start of summer, gas prices have dropped. And in St. Lucia, you're still paying sky-high gas prices. Philip Pierre has not given you any reprieve on gas prices. Any reprieve. The whole pass-through mechanism was supposed to adjust when there are changes of oil in the world market. He has not adjusted it. He is bleeding St. Lucians. Bleeding St. Lucians while there's so much suffering, so much inflation, while prices of goods are sky-high in the supermarkets. He's bleeding y'all. Meanwhile, they continue to live their lavish lifestyle. They continue to live it up. Jet setting around the world. Trips to Dubai. Lavish cocktails in Dubai. St. Lucia's independence celebrated in Dubai. Go to Nigeria. Go to FIFA World Cup finals. Oh, they're living it up around the world. They're going to Miami. They're going here, there, going everywhere. Look at how they spend Christmas. Just look at their Facebook pages. Look at their Instagram pages. That's why I will forever call Labour Party champagne socialists. They pretend to be socialists, but they are champagne socialists. They're only socialists on the backs of the poor people. When really and truly, all they pursue is champagne lifestyles. Champagne lifestyles they cannot afford to live unless they are in government. Alan Jackson don't need to live no champagne lifestyle in government. He was born into certain things. But these guys need to get into government by any means necessary for them to enjoy the champagne. Meanwhile, they don't care about St. Lucians. They do not care about St. Lucians. But if they cared about St. Lucians, the cost of bread would never be moved from 25 cents to 45 cents. They would have given them a break on the price of gas. Don't tell me for months, at least 7 months, the price of oil has fallen on the world market and St. Lucians cannot catch a break. My God. As a government who cares about its people? There's a government who cares about its people? In the middle of Christmas, I see Lucia put out disconnection notices in the middle of Christmas? That's a government who cares about people? And where's Evarista's Jamari? Listen, I want you all to listen to this. Let me line this up. Evarista Jamari.
The price of crude is going up, and that's all petroleum products will go up.
Managing Director, Jamari and Sons.
And let me put this into context. This was Evarista Jamari when UWP was in power. Remember, the price of oil on the world market was $120 a barrel, and gas prices in St. Lucia were $13.85. Right now, the price of oil on the world market is $70 a barrel, and the prices of gas in St. Lucia are $17 plus. This was Evarista's Jamari. This was Evarista's Jamari under UWP government. Now, Evaristas has lost his voice, eh? We have been asking for Evaristas for the last year and a half. We have not heard him. He's gone silent. He's taken mumu pills. There are no more mumu pills on the supermarket shelf. Evarista's Jamari has bought all. He's overdosed. He's still overdosing on mumu pills. Listen to Evarista's Jamari.
The price of food is going up, and that's all petroleum products will go up.
Managing Director Jamari and Sons, Evaristas Jamari, is again sounding an alarm following the Monday, March 8th fuel price adjustment. The businessman accurately predicted the last increase in gas prices, which saw the cost of gasoline raised to a staggering $13.20 per gallon. It coincides with a recent hike on the world market, with a barrel crude surpassing $70 this week.
What the government has done now is reduce its excise tax on fuel from $4 to $3.70. So I suppose, in a sense, they have stemmed any further increases in the price of fuel. But I still think that there is need to give the minibus drivers a break, because at $13, it is a high price.
Jamari has accused the current UWP government of being far removed from the actualities of everyday life in St. Lucia. He urges that policy decisions taken by the ruling party should reflect the needs of the masses.
There is need to visibly show that the government is working, and perhaps a more visible way of doing that is to do visible things like build roads and put up structures. But I mean, these things are not as important as how people get by day to day, which is they need money in their hand to buy food and to look after their families. That is a more important thing right now.
As for the languishing transportation sector, that has been clamoring for a COVID-19 relief package from March 2020, Jamari says another round of industrial tumult last witnessed in December 2020, where some associations withdrew their services, leaving thousands stranded, would not come as a surprise to him.
It's getting increasingly difficult. When you have to meet your everyday costs, and you can't just abandon the business, but you're there and you're hemorrhaging cash because you have to buy fuel, and very often minibus drivers say they take very little home, and they have major expenses, insurance to meet their car, they have loans to supply, and it can become very frustrating. And I wouldn't be surprised, at some point they say, look, enough is enough.
The National Council on Public Transportation was scheduled to meet with the Minister for Transportation, Guy Joseph, recently. However, efforts to ascertain the outcome of that meeting have been unsuccessful.
Y'all hear? This was Jamari. Y'all see when I tell you I have no time for this hypocrites in St. Lucian society? These hypocritical elites in St. Lucian society. That's why I always call them out. And that's why they will not like me. Because I will call them out. I don't give a rat's derriere about their because they are hypocrites. These guys are only there for themselves, and they fool the poor people in St. Lucia. They fool the poor people just to enrich themselves. I have no time for these elites. Y'all know I always call them out. Y'all know I always call them out. And they will never like me for that. Because they think they're untouchable and people are not supposed to call them out. But I tell you, I, Minerva Ward, will call them out. Because I hate this hypocrisy in St. Lucian society. These elites in the society that bleed the poor people. They play a dirty political game. And then they go silent. Where is Evarista's Jamari now? They like to act like they're the upright upholders of society. They like to clutch their fake pearls once you're in office and condemn everything. Oh, you hear them, the loudest voices. They're all in the media when you're in office. They are all in the media when you're in office. But as soon as Labour Party get in, they all go silent. They all take mumu pills. I will always call them out, and they will never like me. I do not care. Where is Evarista Jamari today? What is he saying? What is he saying? Where is the Adrian Auger's? Where is the Mauricia Thomas Francis's? Where are those that pretended to be the upholders of society? They care about people. Why have they gone silent? The poor people are still looking to you to speak out on issues that affect them. Where is the Chamber of Commerce? Why are you all silent? Evarista Jamari, why are you silent? My friend Norbert Williams is calling for you all the while. And I will call him, I will call you out your name in his voice. Evaristos! Evaristos! That's how Norbert used to call you. I'm calling you out in Norbert voice right now. Where are you, Evaristos? People want to hear from you. Evaristos Pakapale? All of you are gone silent? You don't have to like me, huh? I don't care. I was not put on this earth to be liked. The need to be liked, I was not born with it. I don't have it. I don't have no need to be liked. I wasn't born in that need. That's why I will always call y'all out on your hypocrisy. Because the poor people y'all fool are waiting for y'all to speak out on their behalf right now. Where are you, Evarista Jamari? But folks, let me tell y'all something. A march right now is being planned to protest these gas prices. A march right now is being planned to protest these gas prices. And I hope y'all understand that these hypocrites are not going to speak for y'all on your behalf. These hypocrites are only there to use you guys. These bourgeoisie and these elites in St. Lucia, all they do is prey on your ignorance. And prey on y'all. And as soon as they get what they want, they are silent. So if you're waiting for them to speak on your behalf, Quapo smoke your pipe, you better start speaking for yourself. A protest is being planned right now to protest those gas prices. And you better get your marching shoes ready to go and protest. You better. Because if you're waiting for this government to do the right thing, they have shown you over and over and over that they will not. If you're waiting for Evarista Jamari to speak out for y'all, he will not. You better get those boots ready to go and protest and to go and march. You better come out and make your voices heard. Otherwise, this government is going to just continue walking all over y'all as they have done in the last year and a half. When the details about this protest against these gas prices come out, you better go out and march. Don't depend on people like me to speak for y'all. You better start speaking for yourselves. This government all over boasting about increasing the income tax threshold. All over boasting about they taking it up to, I think, 25,000. That's not what your election promise was. You said anybody making $4,000 and less a month would not be paying tax. $4,000 and less a month is $48,000 a year. So do not raise it to 25 and then pissing people island called the rain. You said $48,000 a year, which is $4,000 a month. Raise the income tax threshold to that. Make the personal allowance up to that, so people paying less than $4,000 as you promised. Let me play the video for y'all. Not me that say it, Philip J that say it. Let me play it for y'all. Let me get it and play it for y'all. You know, you have to remind them of their own words. That's what you have to do. Remind them of their own words. Let me get it for y'all. Let me find it.
What really we mean by the first $4,000 of income there, no tax? Many people are saying, what's that about? It's very simple. If you get in $4,000 a month or less than that, you pay no tax. That means you pay no PAYE. That means all your money that you used to pay to the government in tax will come to your pocket to do what you want.
Folks, $48,000 a year, $4,000 a month. You hear? So if you're getting $4,000 or less a month, you would not be paying PAYE. They raised it to $25,000 and they're all about the place bragging. That's not what you said. And you said it during COVID times when you knew the state the economy was in. You knew how much the economy had contracted because of COVID. You knew the financial state the country was in because we had to borrow to respond to COVID. But you were still making election promises like that during COVID. And as Norbert and I used to ask you every single morning when we were keeping it real, how are you going to finance that? How are you going to pay for that? Where are you going to meet that budget deficit? But you fooled St. Lucians. And St. Lucians fool themselves too. St. Lucians fool themselves too because y'all should have known. Y'all should have known. Y'all continue to let the Labour Party fool y'all with their false promises. He said anybody who's being owed $5,000 and less a month in income tax refunds will get it in the first 100 days. Has anybody received their income tax returns yet? Has anybody received their income tax returns yet? The government continues to finance its operations on the backs of poor St. Lucians. They continue to hold on to your tax returns. That's your money, you know. That is your money that they're holding on to and they're not paying you any interest on it. They are financing. In other words, you are making the government a loan. When they hold on to your income tax returns, you have made them a loan. In an interest-free loan, you get zero on it. They can hold it for 4 or 5 years, you get zero on it. It's like they have an overdraft on your account and they will pay you when they feel like paying you and you get zero interest on it. If you owe them taxes, you will have to pay them interest. But they're owing you for years and they refuse to pay. He made your promise in the first 100 days. If they owe you $5,000 and less a month, you will get your money back. Up to now, 1.5 years has passed. People still waiting for their income tax returns. In a time when there's so much hardship, this should be a priority to give people their money. Give people their money. Give people their money. It's money it does not belong to you. It belongs to the people. It is their income tax returns. Give people their money. They're still waiting on the $1,500 you promised them as well. Give people their money. Give people their $1,500. Give people their income tax returns. Lower the price of gas and stop bleeding poor people. At least give the people the money so at least they can create some kind of security, some kind of comfort level for themselves. Because things are hard. You're living it up. And people are suffering and you all don't care. I want to make you listen to Richard Frederick's Christmas address. Let me go to it. Now, folks, listen carefully to Richard Frederick's Christmas address and tell me if that does not sound like a government that has given up. Because when I heard, that's what I thought. This was a government who is bankrupt of ideas. This is the government who has thrown their hands up in the air because they do not know how to move the country forward. They have given up. They're only in office marking time for the other 3.5 years until the election is called. This government is a defeated government. They are a deflated government. They do not know how to maneuver. They don't know how to move. Listen to this from Richard Frederick. Listen to his Christmas Day address.
It is this time of year when, despite our battles during the year, a feeling of good cheer assails us. It is a time when we, at least for now, shelve the difficulties that life may unfortunately confront us with.
Listen to the negative tone of a Christmas address. Listen to the negative tone of a Christmas address. Folks, this is a time where there's no global pandemic. This government has not had to deal with a global pandemic. They've not. Alan Chastney had 2 years of a global pandemic when the world was shut down for almost 1 year of that. When there was supply chain issues, nothing was moving. Ports were shut down, seaports were shut down, airports were shut down, factories were shut down, everything was shut down. The country was shut down. We had to send repatriation flights for St. Lucian stuck all over the world. We had to open a respiratory hospital. We had to open COVID, the hotels when people came in. Isolation centers. We had to do all of that. We had to procure vaccines. We had to do all of that. This government has not had to deal with any of that. They came in and found 12% economic growth, GDP growth, thanks to Alan Chastney. They came in and found a country open, thanks to Alan Chastney, who refused to listen to them, to their demands to shut down the country because they wanted to bleed the country and hurt the country. They came in and found a tourism industry that Alan Chastney kept open. They came and found things good. Yes, there is inflation, but they came and found things good. Better than most. But listen to the address. Listen to the negativity. Listen to the tone of this government. This government that promised milk and honey when they were in opposition. Who promised solutions milk and honey. During COVID, they were making all their grandiose promises. Today they come in and give a Christmas address. Listen to this.
It is this time of year when, despite our battles during the year, a feeling of good cheer assails us. It is a time when we, at least for now, shelve the difficulties that life may unfortunately confront us with. For none of us, life is not a bed of roses. Being involved in the governance of this country carries with it a tremendous responsibility.
It is not a bed of roses. Being involved in the governance of the country carries a tremendous responsibility. It sure seems like it's a bed of roses for y'all. It certainly seems so. Because every opportunity y'all get, y'all are jet-setting and joyriding around the world. Y'all are living it up while the poor St. Lucians can't afford to. Can't afford to meet their basic necessities. But y'all are living it up. With your champagne and caviar lifestyles. So it's not bleak for y'all. It's bleak for the ordinary St. Lucian. It's not bleak for y'all.
You are tasked with doing as much as you can within the limitations that confront us. The inadequacy of resources especially to attempt to bring whatever degree...
Listen to the excuses. This reminded me, sorry, I want to let it play for y'all. But when I heard this reminds me of Kenny Anthony in 2016. Y'all remember when Kenny Anthony had thrown his hands up in the air? When he had given up? He passed the first part of the budget and couldn't even pass the second part. That reminds me of then, when the Labour Party had failed St. Lucia and they were clueless. Like they had to call an election early because they just did not know how to move the country forward. This government, a year and a half in, they are already there. They have given up. They are defeated. They are defeated. All they can come to you with are excuses. Excuses. A pity party. They inspire no hope. They inspire no hope because they can't inspire no hope. They have no hope because they have no vision. They have no hope because they have no plans. They have no plans because they came into office without plans. And when we were warning y'all, y'all did not listen. They came in with empty pans, no plans. Beating empty pans, no plans. And today, they found themselves in the same situation I expected them to find themselves in. Because they are visionless, talentless, clueless government. And while they pander to the poor people and pretended that they were putting the people first, they really don't care about poor people. They care about their champagne and caviar lifestyles and the ability to travel all over places they've never seen before and enjoy lifestyles they could not afford to live when they were out of office.
For none of us, life is not a bed of roses. Being involved in the governance of this country carries with it a tremendous responsibility, one in which you are tasked with doing as much as you can within the limitations that confront us. The inadequacy of resources especially, to attempt to bring whatever degree of satisfaction you can to those you represent. This is a task that no one can readily discharge, but we as a government are trying. At this time, in the words of Martin Luther King, we need leaders who are not in love with money, but in love with justice.
We need leaders who are not in love with money. Could you believe Richard Frederick is saying that? We need leaders who are not in love with money. Could you believe Richard Frederick is saying that we need leaders who are not in love with money? Whenever I hear Richard Frederick talks, you'd swear his words apply to him. His words apply to him. I don't know how he can't say that. His words apply to him. The man is speaking about himself. He is literally speaking about himself. We need leaders who are not in love with money. The man's first love is money. His first love is money. Above all else, his love is money.
Being involved in the governance of this country carries with it a tremendous responsibility, one in which you are tasked with doing as much as you can within the limitations that confront us. The inadequacy of resources especially,
y'all didn't know that?
attempt to bring whatever degree of satisfaction you can to those you represent. This is a task that no one can readily discharge. But we as a government are trying.
We as a government are trying.
In the words of Martin Luther King, we need leaders who are not in love with money.
And he invokes the name of Martin Luther King. He invokes the name of Martin Luther King in his nonsense. Martin Luther King.
But in love with justice. Who are not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity.
The man said we need leaders who are not in love with money and not in love with publicity. Y'all, Richard Frederick say we need leaders who are not in love with money and who are not in love with publicity. Richard Frederick. Y'all, what does Richard Frederick love more than money? Publicity. The man said we... Listen to that again. Listen to this again. Listen to this again.
That confront us. The inadequacy of resources especially, to attempt to bring whatever degree of satisfaction you can to those you represent. This is a task that no one can readily discharge. But we as a government are trying.
Trying
At this
how?
time, in the words of Martin Luther King,
Martin Luther
we need
King.
leaders who are not in love with money.
We need leaders who are not in love with money,
justice.
but in love with justice.
Who are not in love with publicity.
He in love with justice. Richard Frederick say he in love with justice. Richard Frederick say he in love with justice.
But in love with humanity.
Richard Frederick say he in love with justice. Ebebo. 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 Richard Frederick say he in love with justice. I will say no more at this time. I will say no more at this time. I will say no more at this time. But there will come a time.
Discharge. But we as a government are trying. At this time, In the words of Martin Luther King, we need leaders who are not in love with money, but in love with justice. Who are not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity.
Who are not in love with publicity. A man that always bragging about how many Facebook live viewers he have. A man who's always talking about how many live viewers he has. He's talking about we need leaders who are not in love with publicity. A man who have, if he giving a goat water, he have to have his face. He have to be on Facebook Live. A man, if he giving somebody a bag of groceries, have to be on Facebook Live. The man say we need leaders who are not in love with publicity. That's what Richard Frederick say. A man who cannot stay off Facebook Live. If he doing anything, he need the whole world watching him. He say we need leaders who are not in love with publicity. Could you imagine?
Personally, my best may not be good enough, but I am doing my best.
Personally, my best may not be good enough, but I am doing my best. Y'all, doesn't that sound like somebody who's given up? Personally, my best may not be good enough. So you're telling us that you know people are unsatisfied with you. You know that people are dissatisfied with your performance. But you're making excuses, but you are doing your best. If this is not a failed government, I don't know what is. If this is not a failed government, a government who is defeated, who has given up, who has no idea how to move forward, I do not know what is.
I am guided by the biblical stipulations uttered by our good Lord.
And then he brings God into his nonsense. And then he brings God into his nonsense. First you invoke the name of Martin Luther King. Now you're invoking God's name in your nonsense. As if God going to help you out with your malproperty. You're bringing God's name into it. Into your failure to deliver. Y'all wanted to be in government so much. Y'all schemed, y'all connived, y'all plotted, y'all planned. Y'all did all kinds of things. A blue wave. Independent labor. All kind of stupidness y'all did to get into government. Now you're in government. All you're doing is a bunch of excuses you can offer. If my best is, if my thing is not good enough, but I'm doing my best. This is a defeated government minister. A defeated, deflated government minister. Someone who's accepted that he cannot move forward, but he's offering excuses and using God's name to do it. You're like to hide behind God's name.
Said, whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, so you do unto me. In that regard, I always remember that others helped me to be whatever God has made of me to be. I shall never, and I urge you not to forget as well, the dispossessed, the less fortunate, the poorer ones among us.
I hope you all remember them. I hope you Labour Party government, you champagne and caviar socialists, I hope you all remember the poor people.
Let us share the little we have with those who don't, as we must realize that whatever we have was given to us by the Almighty Father. As we embark on this festive season, let us each be each other's keeper. Let's search and permit peace to prevail within ourselves, within our consciences.
Richard Frederick talking about peace.
Interact with others.
Richard Frederick talking about
to
peace.
take this opportunity.
Richard Frederick talking about peace. You see that? You see the hypocrisy of those ministers? Talking a bunch of... I don't even know the word. You see what I talk about? Their words and their actions do not match up. Their words and their actions do not match up. If this is not a government minister who is admitting that people are dissatisfied with the performance of this government, but he's doing his best and offers a bunch of excuses for his dismal performance, for a dismal performance in his government. Alan Shastney was managing through the worst of times, through a global pandemic, a public health crisis, an economic crisis the world had never seen. He was managing. Things were not perfect. No country is perfect, but he was managing through it and displaying leadership. Our bills were paid. There were projects running. People were employed. People were getting fed. Even people who were unemployed for the months the country was shut down got a little bit of soulagement. The country was being managed in the worst of times. You wanted to get in. You were vulnerable to get in. You were vulnerable to get in. You're there now. What you're offering except excuses? What are you all offering except excuses? And I may not be doing it, but I'm doing my best. You'll inspire no hope, no hope, no hope. You all are not selling solutions. You all have a clue about how to move the country forward. All y'all are doing is just marking time, coming to work, showing up at work, traveling here, traveling there. When an opportunity comes to travel, y'all on the first flight out. But y'all don't have a clue how to move the country forward. And instead, Philip Pierre settles down to the business of the country. He's distracted by some stupidity. Bringing a lawsuit against a pseudo profile. Could you believe the stupidity of that? Bringing a lawsuit against a pseudo profile. 3 people said to be in St. Lucia, 2 people said to be in the US. Who are you serving papers on? Who are you serving papers on? You don't realize you're making a mockery out of yourself? Philip, you don't realize you're making a mockery out of yourself and St. Lucians? You're insulting our intelligence with your stupidity. All of this is an attempt to distract and deflect from the pressing issues facing the country. All of this is an attempt to distract from the pressing issues facing the country. At the start of a new year, before you even deliver your New Year's Day message, you come out with magie. About how you're taking United back to court. Pappy show. First class pappy show. Folks, I don't know what to tell you all. I don't know what to say. I don't have much hope for this government for this 2023. I'm sorry I am not able to give you hope because I don't see it. I really and truly do not see it. Despite the lies Ernest Hiller tells about tourism, St. Lucia's arrivals in the winter, the latter months of 2022, were at 65% of pre-COVID arrivals. 65%. Despite the fact that he tells you that we are breaking records. No, St. Lucia is not breaking records. This government is clueless about how to move the country forward. The only thing they can do is tax St. Lucians. So yeah, right now they have not increased VAT, but you know where they believe in St. Lucians? Taxation through the gas. Taxation through the gas. Folks, all I will tell you, I will end now, but all I will tell you is that a march again is being planned to protest these gas prices. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Do not sit at your homes and expect people to advocate for you. Get ready to come out there and march and send a strong statement to this government. Good night, folks.